And we are back for episode 3 of our beloved Doing All Right podcast here at the Crown Global Media headquarters at the Iron Throne, Bryan Broaddus. What you think about the name Iron Throne?
The Iron Throne? Is that kind of a Game of Thrones reference?
That's right on par.
Because I'm the guy that's against, like, when fantasy stuff and all that. I can't play fantasy football.
Of course.
And I don't, the dragons and all that stuff and the dead of winter or whatever we do in that.
It's all right.
I'm the David Hellman and I used to have this discussion all the time. Like, he would talk about Game of Thrones all the time.
Yeah.
And I would say, I hate shows where everybody's wearing fur and they have mud on their face.
That's the mud on the face is the best part, Bryan.
I hate shows where everybody's got mud on their face. And so I never did. Now, the funny thing was, I used to be able to, I'd watch clips of it.
Yeah.
I'd watch clips of it, and then I would be able to talk about it enough at lunch that Hellman would get mad at me about it.
Because, and I promise we'll get right to football, because you can't watch clips of a show that's dense like that.
Yeah.
Because there's a mundane part of the show where you think nothing is happening.
Right.
But everything is happening. Like, there's a name on the wall that you miss, that you got to see it. And if you watch, you're like, what's dude's name doing on the wall? And he come back and kill everybody. You can't read. And then we can read that. I know people that have watched stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I can say, wearing fur and mud on your face, I'm kind of out on those shows.
Bryan don't like
dragons flying around, just wasting people.
Bryan don't like rich people and downtrodden people. He hates everybody.
I'm a middle class guy. Right?
Middle class guy.
Yeah.
Well, his side is the mothership. This is the Iron Throne over here. When we get a third guest, we'll figure out what to call this section of the table. But we do have Cowboys football today. The Cowboys go to Philly. They travel today.
They travel today. Yep.
They travel today. They're going to go play them tomorrow on Thursday, the season opener. And Bryan Broaddus, I still got more questions for you. Now, this is how we're going to set this thing up, okay? And y'all in the chat can play along, too. I want to read y'all's comments because, boy, let me tell you something. Everybody in this building is over-obsessing about what the hell happened with this show. So they're going to be in the comments. He's going to be in the comments. I'm going to be in the comments. We're going to read y'all's comments, okay? On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this matchup for the victory of the Cowboys? On a scale of 1 to 10, Bryan Broaddus, this matchup.
Okay.
How important is this matchup? Like, this matchup ain't going to matter. Oh, this matchup depends on everything.
Yeah.
Let me know, Bryan Broaddus.
Okay. Scale of 1 to 10.
Scale of 1 to 10. We'll start like this. Brian Schottenheimer versus Vic Fangio. How important is that match?
I think it's very important.
Okay.
I think it's very important because I think that in listening to Brian Schottenheimer talk this morning, with Sean and RJ on his weekly press conference, I think they were kind of trying to get him to what his emotions are going to be like in this game. Mm-hmm. How he's going to manage that. Todd Archer even asked the question yesterday in the press conference about his first game as a head coach, regular season game. How do you manage the emotions? How do you talk to the team? And Shotty was kind of talking about all the things that have kind of got him to this point. But I think this matchup for both these guys is really important because I kind of feel like that Vic Fangio, Voch, is going to play a certain way.
Sure.
And I think that Brian Schottenheimer has an idea how he's going to play him.
Yeah.
So now, how does Brian attack what Vic's going to do? Is Vic going to just sit there and rush 4, and play some man coverage and hope that his pass rush gets home? If that's the case, Brian Schottenheimer's got to figure out ways to make sure those 4 are blocked and get that ball out. So yeah, I think this matchup is really, really important. And I hope that Brian Schottenheimer's able to manage the game and manage his emotions at the same time, which allows him to call the best game. That he's going to need to call a great one. In this one for sure.
I think this is where Shotty has the.
This is level 8, by the way, in my
8 out of 10.
Yeah, 8 out of 10.
10 for me.
Yeah.
But I think this is where Shotty has an advantage, Bryan Broaddus. And it's weird that Jerry hasn't acknowledged or taken credit for this yet. But Shotty's a brand new head coach.
Right.
But he's been coaching for a long time.
Oh, he's been coaching a long time. He's been in this league a long time. He's worked with some outstanding head coaches.
Sure.
So he's seen it done the right way. Mm-hmm. But you never know until you become that guy, until you're standing there and all of a sudden it's a 4th down call and you're trying to convince your head coach to go for it. when you're the guy that has to make the determination whether to go for it or not.
Sure. That is fair. That is fair, Brian. But just in my mind, I don't really assume that a whole bunch of emotions would play into it. I mean, the very first game and your first game is versus Super Bowl champions and all this stuff. But Shotty came out and said, like, hey, let's not overthink this too much. Let's go out there and have fun. But boy, that is coach speak. It can be easy to overthink this thing, right?
It's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard for him to not. It's going to be very hard for him not to get emotional. He could talk about, hey, let's go out and have fun and let's just play free and open and all that. Until you get hit in the mouth, then free and open become, oh, that's what we're dealing with today. So he's got to be able to manage those things.
You just said something that lingered in my mind for a second there, Bryan Broaddus. Shotty has a lot of film and evidence of how Fangio deals with Dak.
Yes.
Whether it's some old Dolphins film or just some Eagles film for the past, year or so or whatever. Like, there's ways that Shotty can go and look and be like, all right, this is what you do to try to shut Dak down. Fangio doesn't have that for Schottenheimer, right, Brian?
Right. No, he doesn't. And that's the one advantage that Brian Schottenheimer was trying to keep throughout the preseason.
Sure.
He wasn't interested. Now, when you and I got to watch practice in training camp, we saw some of the things. I thought, you did a great job of talking about the offensive line and where that needs to come and how that scheme is going to fit. I was focusing on some of the stuff down the field. How were the formations, condensed formations, bunch formations, spread formations, wide receiver in the backfield? What was he trying to do to incorporate? It's so simplistic to say, hey, put your players in the best position. But it's so true. It's so true to try and hunt matchups and try and put your players in best positions. He's got some offensive weapons that he can match these guys up with.
Bryan Broaddus, I feel like if I had to talk to Brian Schottenheimer today, I'd be like, Shotty, first of all, I say, nice to meet you, Voch Lombardi. How the hell we talking to each other?
Like you did the Cowboy cheerleaders that time when they went walking by you?
What you want me to say, Brian? What you want me to say?
That was one of the funniest moments I ever remember at training camp. I've had a lot of great funny moments at training camp, but my man Voch Lombardi, if you haven't heard the story, he was coming down to check on me as I was on radio, right by our radio position. And all of a sudden, it's like he's walking, and then he stops, and then he starts to backpedal like he's Deron Bland. And he backpedals back into my tent. And he's like, and all of a sudden you see, well, you actually hear the progression of, and then people, this massive people. Well, it's the Cowboy cheerleaders. They're all coming to perform for the opening day ceremony. So my man Voch he's watching go, oh, hi, Voch Lombardi. Hi, Voch Lombardi. Hi, Voch Lombardi.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. I wanted to back away because there's armed guards.
You back. There were armed guards.
Because there's armed guards. First of all, and look, I just got back here. I just got to the media section this year, so I don't want to bump into a cheerleader and I get roused to the ground or something like that. So the best thing to do is just shake your hands. Hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
But it was kind of like you were.
Well, I got to act like I belong there, Brian. I have to pretend like I belong, though, Brian.
No, you did a great job. The thing that I thought was hilarious is how you were walking with a purpose.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you were backpedaling. You were backpedaling.
Get out of there. I'm not that famous.
Juvenile, right? Back that ass up.
I'm not that famous. Michael Irvin probably could have kept walking, not Voch Lombardi.
Not Voch Lombardi.
But if I could talk to Shotty, I like, hey, man, look, you don't have to overthink this thing. Just be better than what that last year of Mike McCarthy was, right?
Yeah.
Like Mike McCarthy would overthink things. He would stay true to that West Coast. So anybody that's open can get it, right?
Sure.
And now that makes us go away from Brandon Cooks. That makes us go away from our matchups there. Just believe in the motion, believe in shifts, lean into 88, lean into 3, lean into 87, and you'll be good to go. You know what I mean?
Right.
Bryan Broaddus, on a scale of 1 to 10,
Mm-hmm.
how important is the matchup of the interior offensive line for the Dallas Cowboys versus the interior defensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles? Now, Jordan Davis is there, big body. Hadn't really torn it up like I thought Jordan Davis would tear it up, Bryan Broaddus, but he is a big body. He's there. Milton Williams was a guy last year that kind of tore it up a little bit on the inside there. He would line up everywhere, but mostly like B-gap stuff. Milton Williams isn't there anymore. Jalen Carter is the superstar of the D-line there. But, Brian, the Cowboys have a superstar on their line as well, and it's Big Tyler, because there's a couple of Tylers in there. Then BB is in year 2, and then we have the rookie Tyler Guyton, Bryan Broaddus. Just break down to the people watching here today the interior Cowboys O-line versus the interior Eagles D-line.
And again, I'm looking forward to your comments on this too, because you have this offensive line vision that you go with, and I think it's really, really good. Where you have to look at this team is, I think it kind of starts with Jalen Carter. And, because if you look at defensive tackles last year in the National Football League, he was top 10 in pressures. I mean, these are big body guys. These are big, powerful guys. I think the matchup is kind of a 9 right now. And I say this in a way that, to me, how you handle those guys, Carter and those guys inside, I think is going to be key in this football game. But what I do like a lot, Voch, is I like the fact that they match up power for power with this group. When you start to talk about Smith, when you start to talk about Beebe, when you start to talk about Booker, if you want to play a power game inside, Dallas is equipped to play a power game against you as well. To me, it's the quickness. When I watch Booker, and again, you could address this if you want. Booker, when he had problem in training camp practice, it was maybe a quick Solomon Thomas.
Slants, stunts.
Stuff. Yeah. Yep. Anybody that had quickness, an Oso Digizua, somebody like that had that quickness to kind of get to his edge, that was a problem to him. But with these guys like Carter and those guys inside, if they're going to play power football, I think these guys are going to be okay with that. I like the fact that I think this is really kind of a strength-on-strength matchup.
I love how the Cowboys spent the 12th overall pick to make this strength a strength already. Jerry Jones will say that make your strength stronger, whatever Jerry Jones calls it. Yeah. But you're gonna have to deal with some interiors in this conference in particular.
Yes,
you're gonna have to deal with interiors. Jalen Carter is the big bad wolf, Bryan Broaddus, but there's film evidence. I should do a film session on this on our nice board here of how effective Big Tyler is dealing with Jalen Carter.
Yeah,
we breathe breaths of relief when Jalen Carter lines up over the left guard because we know, all right, cool, we can win now. We're not going to die horribly right there. The only thing that I'm concerned about, in which I'm really not even too concerned, I just have to see it first, is if the Eagles put Carter over Booker.
Yeah.
It'll benefit the Eagles to put Carter over the rookie because he's the rookie. It's his first game.
Right.
But Bryan Broaddus, you made a great point yesterday. Man, Booker has been in college. He's played a ton of games. SEC, he's seen those guys. He's seen those top-tier matchups. So I don't think Booker would lose that matchup like Conor McGovern used to do. You know what I mean? Those Connor Weaves used those old matchups, right? I think you're powerful along the front. I think the best opportunities you have is when Carter is on Big Tyler, and if Beebe and Booker can work together to deal with Carter, I think they could deal with him by himself.
Yeah.
Because like I said, he's not showing me as much as I thought he was in Georgia. But I think they can deal with Carter. The Eagles would be negligent if they leave that matchup just like this. Now, if the Eagles want to get creative, Brian, and maybe put Jalen Carter over Terrence Steele, now we get to sit back in our chair and go, okay, what's going on here?
Right.
But if they just leave him in B-gap over Big Tyler, I think that's a win for us, Bryan Broaddus.
Absolutely.
And honestly, we've seen these games to where Carter can be worn down a little bit because he's having to deal with Smith. Think about that last Eagles game when the Cowboys, and it was a close game, and then we get to the red zone and Terrence Steele just loses to Brandon Graham back to back.
Right.
That was Terrence Steele losing. It didn't happen in the interior, right? So assuming that Booker can rise to the occasion and Big Tyler can do what he's used to doing, I want the Cowboys, and this will really send a message, Brian. I want the Cowboys to wear down the Eagles' D-line. Let's keep running at those guys. Let's keep pounding the football at those guys. If Shotty is serious about pounding the football and running and being, this is a great time to do it because I think if you can wear the Eagles down and run the football and throw the football when you want to, not be forced to throw it, I think that's a huge event. Advantage for the Cowboys.
Last year, if you go to the Week 10 matchup, which I kind of went back and started to watch that was kind of where you were able to go. Zach Martin, who was kind of banged up in the season, he was dealing with a lot of injuries. He was dealing with, he just wasn't the same Zach Martin.
Sure.
In 19 opportunities against, and we're talking about past situations, when it was Martin versus Carter, only 2 pressures. And that was that's Zach Martin being kind of banged up, playing on one foot and all that kind of stuff. So, if you're talking about, and I'm not trying to say Carter is can be had. I'm just saying Dallas matches up better with and you have to. And you mentioned it in the conference, in the division, you have to match up with these big interior people. We were watching the Giants the other day and what they were doing to Steen.
Pushing the pocket.
Pushing the pocket. If you don't play with power in this division, you are not going anywhere.
Bryan Broaddus, I tell you what, a great way for me to go to jail and miss the whole next week of work is if Tyler Booker go out there and put hands on Jalen Carter the whole game.
Oh,
I'm
no.
celebrating. We gonna do it up here.
Oh, no, absolutely.
If Tyler Booker go out there. That's views right there.
He's capable, too, of that. I mean, and you look at –
because he's powerful, guy.
Because he's powerful. If it turns into you were going to try and one move is your arm over and I catch you, and then now it turns into just trying to push and rush. Yeah. Tyler Booker will sit down on you and right there, and he'll just keep the front of that pocket clean.
And we've seen Booker do that with Osa, right?
And
we go back to this. In case you're new here, we have a 10-play rule, right? When we're breaking down matchups, we're in camp and we're looking at something, and if it's 10 plays of Booker versus Oso Digizua, right?
Yeah.
If it's half and half, that's good for us.
That's a win. Yeah.
That's a win for us. If it's Booker versus Mozzie, I want Booker to win 8 of those 10.
Right.
9 of those 10.
Right.
But if Mozzie wins a couple of those, that's good on Mozzie. If Booker gets 10 opportunities versus Jalen Carter and he flats out win 4 of them, I think that's a win for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think to me, I would go a little bit higher on that.
Okay,
I would say, give me. I'm going to go over the 5. I'm going to go 6.
Okay.
I think that I just believe in Smith and Booker this much in this football game. And I think BB's going to be a big help too. And if it turns into just Vic Fangio rushing 4 guys, I like that even better for the Cowboys. And I'll tell you something too we need to think about too. With Nolan Smith rushing, I was doing a little bit more deep dive in some stats with Nolan Smith. The 61st best get-off time for an edge rusher last year in the NFL. Now, you're thinking 61st? That's not –
That ain't great.
That ain't great. Yeah. So all of a sudden now if it's who is on that – and Nolan usually plays on that right side, that plays well for Steele.
Terrence Steele.
Anything that Terrence Steele – if Terrence Steele doesn't have to deal with power, that's the number one thing that hurts Terrence Steele is the power. But if you're telling me that the guy's a little late getting off the ball and that allows Terrence Steele to get set up a little bit, hey, let's go. I'm all for that.
That's a good day, Bryan Broaddus.
Yep.
Man, boy, this Saquon Barkley kid, man. I tell you what, man. I may not fear Jalen Carter all that much, but, man, I fear Saquon Barkley a little bit.
Yeah, I do
Bryan,
too.
Bro. That dude is worth the fear. Bryan, how important is the matchup of and you could do it either way. You could either do Matt Eberflus and his scheme or just the run defense in general versus Saquon.
I'll go run defense.
Let's go run defense versus Saquon.
I think this is a 10 of a 10. Yeah. I do. I think this is a 10 of a 10. I think that, to me, Dallas's offense can clearly help if they find a way to move the football and score points and get Philadelphia to get out of that running game. Yeah. But I think Philadelphia is going to want to run the football in this game, Voch. Yeah. I think they're going to want to make Dallas prove to me that you can play run defense. Yeah. And Saquon Barkley, what you have to worry about Saquon Barkley is with his ability to make people miss. Yeah. That's the thing. This guy gets so many more yards, make people miss, yards after the miss. That's the thing that kills teams. You watch him in way, and another thing, he's running the ball on your side of the line of scrimmage. Because of the way their offensive line plays, yards at contact are not at the line of scrimmage or in the backfield. It's 2.5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. So all of a sudden you're giving Saquon Barkley a 5-yard run and then also no contact between 2.5 yards beyond that. That's a tough day. And the fact that he can make you miss, but this is a 10 out of 10. Dallas is going to have to fit on defense. They're going to have to fit with the defensive line. They're going to have to fit with the linebackers. If you look up and all of a sudden it's Malik Hooker and Wilson and those guys making tackles, but they're for 2-3 yard gains, that is a huge win for this Dallas Cowboy team.
Yeah, holding Saquon to 2-3 yards because
Giants days. You need Giants days from Saquon. Yeah, you need those Giants.
26 total, 26 yards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's asking a lot.
And Bryan, the Eagles. If you watch film on them last year, it's almost like they'll dig themselves in a hole, and it looked like it was on purpose. Like, man, y'all short throwing the ball a lot. Y'all leaning into Hurts a bunch, and then they'll give the ball to Barkley late.
Yeah.
And it'll be big runs late, and that's why I think it's important that the Cowboys score early.
Right.
If they do play that game where they're trusting Hurts, and look, man, Hurts ain't bad. Y'all hear me talk about Hurts like he's terrible, but if I had to pick Hurts versus Saquon, give me Hurts. Let Hurts throw the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
Make Hurts beat me.
Please.
Don't let Barkley beat me, because Schottenheimer talked about this morning again with the 105.3 The Fan. He was saying there's nothing more demoralizing than a team just running the football. Yeah. 4 yards, convert. 4 yards, 5 yards, convert. There's nothing more demoralizing, and Dallas can't get in that game all of a sudden where Philadelphia is just chewing them up on the ground.
Yeah, it's terrible, Bryan Broaddus. And, I keep leaning into this idea that you bail Jalen Hurts out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to bail Jalen Hurts out. And look, if he goes out there and throws for 350 yards and rushes for 50 and gets 5 touchdowns, then you deserve to lose. Yep. if you let Hurts do that to you. But Saquon to do it by himself. But that's why, like I said, the offense is important here. Bryan, how about the same side of the ball, but just the other matchup there, the Cowboys pass rush versus the Eagles O-line. The Eagles are a great pass blocking football team, and they give Hurts a ton of time to throw the football there. Micah Parsons is out of here. I don't even want to say his name no more until week 4, Bryan Broaddus. But the Cowboys pass rush, currently how it is now with the guys that we have Fowler, Donovan Ezraku, Sam Williams, James Houston, whatever Marshawn Nealon can give you in the pass rush department. But also, Bryan, just another thing people aren't talking about, but Osa is a part of this pass rush package too. Kenny Clark is a part of this pass rush package situation too. So the Cowboys pass rush versus the Eagles pass blocking linemen. 1 to 10, Bryan. How important?
This to me is going to come down to, because I think the running game, I gave it a 10. Yeah. I'm going to give it the pass about a 7 is what I'm going to do. And I'm giving it this way because, and you're absolutely right, Voch. This Micah Parsons was responsible last year for 24% of your pressures. Yeah. That's just reality right there. That is something. The sacks, the pressures, those things, it's going to be hard to replace. Sure. This is not going to be an easy thing to have to do, but they're going to have to find a way. I think where you were talking about earlier in your breakdown, the film breakdown we did earlier, and where to attack and who to attack. I just hope that Matt Eberflus is watching this film and they're seeing, okay, I kind of feel like, though, that Jordan Mailata can give me, if I rush him this way, I can maybe do some good. If I rush Lane Johnson this way, I can do some good. We'll see what happens with the inside. I think the spot where the Eagles could be the weakest, it's the opposite of what Dallas really is. I think the inside interior with this Eagles offensive line, and we'll see how that plays out. Landon Dickerson is a really good player. We'll see what happens with Tyler Steig at the right guard spot. I think that, to me, is find a way to win inside. If it's the mug, that double A gap look where they mug the 2 linebackers and rush. They had some success with that last year. Find a way to attack that guard spot. Put the center, Cam Jurgens, put him one-on-one in some pass rush situations. So Dallas is going to have to find a way. Don't let these guys, don't rush the left side down the middle, and make sure that you play with power on the opposite side. That's how I would try and make sure I get the pass rush I need in this one.
Watching Washington versus the Eagles, Quinn would put Fowler over Mailata. I can't say his name.
Jordan Mailata.
Mailata, right? He would put Fowler on that side.
Yeah.
Now, I would prefer that they play find the scrub and move everybody around.
Right.
Donovan Ezraku is more than likely going to be more of the move around guy.
I think so.
Does moving Donovan keep you from moving Fowler? Or would you just rush Fowler over Mailata the whole time?
You know what I would think about is maybe you put Nealon over Mailata, and you just kind of say, okay, that's, I'm just saying.
That's the loss right here.
Yeah.
We try to win every week.
Yeah, we're trying to win it just to create matchups. But it might be, like you say, the quickness. Whoever, and Fowler at the Commanders last year was in the top 20 when it came to, and I was looking at the get off the rush rates for these guys, and Fowler was in the top 20 last year when it came to the get off time. So that's maybe where you have to think about with the stuff with Mailata because of the quickness. Are you able to work? If you work down the middle of Jordan Mailata, you're dead. You're just dead. So the quickness off the ball and him to get underneath, that might be Fowler. That might be Ezraku. But then whoever you feel like, I would take my second best pass rusher and probably brush him against Mailata and try and go for the quickness, and then take the other pass rusher, your best, whoever you feel your best, and to your words, find the scrub. Yeah, that's what I would try and do.
So we putting Dante Fowler over over Steen or something like that. We putting Osa over Dickerson.
Just move them around. Move them around and try, and don't let them get a beat. Jeff Southland, the offensive line coach of the Eagles, is outstanding. But they are going to, there is a certain level that they play at, and that is they've got really good power on the left side, and they've got really good athletes on the right side. And so you've got to try and find a way to match up. How do you go opposite with that? That's going to be the trick that Matt Eberflus has to do in this football game.
7's a good rating, Bryan Broaddus. Here's my last one, Bryan. And this is 12 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
Bryan, I want 88-3 to go crazy versus them characters over there. I want them to go find them cornerbacks. Derek Eagleton asked me a really good question yesterday, and the old coach play caller in me came out. He was like, "Well, Voch, what's gonna happen if they don't put Ringo out there?" I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna put more receivers out there and make them put Ringo out there." Like, I want to find some of these guys, bro. I want to make them cover me, right? I know Shotty wants to run the football, and look, Shotty's gonna run the football, but at some point, man, you're gonna look over there and you're gonna see Adoree Jackson.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys have abused Adoree Jackson before.
Over the years.
Back in Giants land, we used to go find Adoree Jackson. Just like you used to go find Adoree Jackson with the Lions, with the Giants, I want the Cowboys to find Adoree Jackson. And honestly, Bryan, because I see a lot of people on social media talking about this, I'm finding Cooper DeJean. I'm finding Quinyon Mitchell's a good player.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb is an all-pro.
Yeah.
George Pickens is a really good player, you know what I mean? So I like our side. I like our matchup. And Dak he feels good about these matchups. Dak, when Dak is confident, you know, when you can look Dak in his eyes and they big and he's sweating real hard, then we can somebody go tell Dak to calm down or something like that. Right. But when Dak dancing and shooting dice before the game and kicking it and he laid up and he having fun like the Eagles at Philly, Dak is confident. He's gonna throw the ball all over the place, assuming it ain't raining or nothing like that. I feel really good about the Cowboys passing game here. I'm going 12 out of 10 for this one, Bryan Broaddus, because I want this thing not to turn into a track meet necessarily, but I want to aggressively attack the Eagles.
Right.
And then once all your big dogs get going, all right, go chase Turpin around and see if you can find him. And then we'll run the football at the end once all the points are on the board, and we've got you in that way. Yeah,
I think this game, and I like the 12 out of 10. That's actually a really good thought, because it might turn into Dallas having to throw the football, much like we all remember opening day where in Tampa Bay where Zach Martin had COVID and he was out and Dallas couldn't run the ball. They just didn't even try, and it turned into Dak Prescott just lighting this thing up, throwing the football with receivers that were making some plays. He's got weapons in this football game. He's got the absolute – where this game is going to come down to, in my opinion, and there's a lot of things you could say, but this quarterback has been, over the years, one of the best in the league when it came to tight window throws. Yeah. He is one of the best. And you have two of the best tight window receivers in the National Football League. Matter of fact, George Pickens is the second highest percentage of tight window throws of receptions. And there's going to be Cooper DeJean covering. There was going to be times with Mitchell covering and all that. So there's going to be some throws that Dak is going to have to make in this football game. If he gets the time, there's going to be that throw that he has to make where all of a sudden one of these corners is hanging on one of these Cowboys receivers. And you got it. And Dallas receivers have shown over the years that they've been able to come up with these types of throws and these types of catches. This game is going to hinge on, if you're watching and it's throw after throw after throw, and you're like going, what a great catch, what a great catch, what a great catch. Dallas has got a really good shot of winning this football game that way, because they have the capability. Jake Ferguson's the same way. Jake Ferguson, seam route, safety's hanging on him, getting hit in the face. He goes and gets the ball. You have guys that can play against the secondary that cover outstanding. And so that, to me, 12 out of 10, as Voch would say, give me that, because they're going to have to make some plays in this game. They're going to have to make some crazy-ass one-handed catches and all kinds of things for Dallas. And it's going to probably come on some third downs. It's probably going to come down in the red zone. They're going to need to make those plays, and I think they're capable of doing it. We didn't get a chance, and this is the last thing, Bryan. We didn't get a chance to really go into this. We don't have to be here long. But the rookie Jahad Campbell from Bama, he's going to be starting, right? Do we go find him? Like, do we like using Jake and even Brevin, right, Bryan? Or Kavontae Turpin? Like, we line up in a set to where we just have a
a 3-3 advantage, and you just run that linebacker right there. Now he's chasing Turpin around.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how Vic Fangio plays that with him. And this will be his first start in the league, and but a very talented player, very talented. But yeah, to me, I mean, they're I'll tell you, Braun, the other line, they got good linebackers. I mean, this linebacker. If you ask me about him as a player, that's Braun. He never comes off the field.
Yeah.
I mean, he can cover, he tackles, he's
got that pass rush too.
He's got that. He's got a kind of a Sean Lee element to his game, you know. And so I think that is matter. But yeah, you do have the rookie there, and so can you find a way to get some matchups? This thing is going to be about how to get your guys on. They've got a lot of good guys on that football team.
Yeah.
But can you find a way? Can you take advantage of one matchup that is struggling in that football game?
Man, cover 1, cover 3, get that seam ball going.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we gave y'all some training camp stories, gave you a little bit of Game of Thrones, and we gave you a badass Cowboys versus Eagles breakdown. The game's tomorrow, you know what I mean? So go out there, enjoy yourself, don't get arrested and all that. And, hey, we'll meet back up here and recap the whole thing, and we'll talk about it here at Crown Global Media. Be sure that you sub. Be sure to go down in the comments and tell us what you think, where you rank either one of these topics that we mentioned today, because we'll be down there engaging with you. Be sure to follow Bryan Broaddus at BRYN Broaddus. Follow me at VOCHLONBARDI. And Crown Global has a Twitter page as well. We're going to be throwing stuff up there too. So be sure that you tapped in. All right. We'll catch y'all tomorrow. We love you to pieces. Till next time. Crown.